All right, here we are. Welcome
We're
to
back.
a brand sparkling new edition of 3 Cents. This time we got a very, very esteemed guest, FatherDude.
I'm steaming right now.
Oh, it's begun
Thank you
already.
for having me.
Thanks for being here.
So tell the class about yourself. Tell us for some people that what's a good synopsis for FatherDude.
Synopsis of who I am.
Yeah,
what I'm all about. Well, been making music for a very long time, as we all have here. We kind of have like lives before each other, it seems like. And I think most of us have known each other for about 5 or 6 years now. So there was like the pre-electronic music era of what I do, at least. I was in many different jazz, R&B, soul, electronic things, but through the years. But I'd say the last 10 years, I was doing things in line with what I'm doing as FatherDude. And I think about 5 years ago, I met Ross at a show in Brooklyn, and we were introduced by an agent friend of ours who, I guess that was the connection. I don't even remember how that began. I don't even know.
No. I met you online because you did a collab with this kid named Saturn, who's a future bass producer. And then I was like, yo, your shit's sick. And then I sent you some tracks. And then you met Brent, who's the agent you're talking about, and Elliot Infuse via me.
Through you, right? Okay,
it was flipped.
Right.
I introduced you to every person that you know.
You are responsible for most of what I'm doing at this point.
That's correct.
Yeah, no, and that place closed down shortly thereafter. That venue, but
Glasslands,
yeah,
in Brooklyn,
mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I mean, we made a lot of music online and a lot of features and a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I don't know how abbreviated I want to go here, but it's been an interesting ride the last few years of just kind of meeting all of you guys.
You were just on superstar status. You were on TV not too long ago.
Mitch can't talk about himself. We have to talk about him for him. So FatherDude was recently on NBC's season 2 of Songland with a track called Billionaires, which is freaking awesome. And tell us about that experience. Yeah, they fucked up because you're not famous yet. But tell us about that experience.
It was a great experience. Honestly, it was very it was one of those things, and I have to say, for all the crap that and we can curse here, right?
You say whatever you want.
Yep. Hell, last damn
reason.
For all the shit that we talk on SoundCloud, and deservedly so, SoundCloud struck again. It was how producers from the Songland show found me, was through a SoundCloud thing. So, and this is 2020 or whatever it was, to end of 2019. So they reached out, they saw it, I don't know, some song, and I guess they were hitting up, certain types of people for the artists that they had on that season in the show, so they have like country artists, they have pop artists and R&B people, and then they have 4 people come on with their songs and they pitch those songs to those bigger artists. So we didn't know who our artist was, our episode was. They just we went through this whole thing where they asked us to send unreleased tracks. So I've been holding on to that track Billions for years. And I knew it was a special track, and I didn't know what to do with it, as a lot of us find ourselves in the situation of, we have these songs where we're like, I know this is great, I don't want it to just be another one, I
got a couple.
Yeah, exactly. We have a couple. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, this was an opportunity where I sent that and a couple other things, and this got that reaction. And they asked, blah, 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 a couple months down the line. And they didn't tell us who the episode was for, that we were there for. So until we were literally in LA sitting, in the room. So when they told us that our episode was for Usher, I was just like, oh, wow.
Fuck yeah.
That's definitely a plus. But it was a great experience. Great meeting other songwriters. I come from an artist background and I write. But a lot of these people are songwriters, straight up songwriters that aren't trying to be artists. Some aren't, one foot in as we are as producers and songwriters. We kind of wear both hats, and we're eager to wear either hat. But it was a good group of people, and it was a lot of fun to film. I didn't care about what happened. It was more about just doing it.
Oh, what did happen?
Well, and let me blow some smoke up your wide open ass real quick. Open them. You are the most consistent singer I have ever been around in my entire life. You are the the raddest, most consistent. We toured together and stuff, and I've seen you sing in all range of times and places and considerations. You are easily one of the best singers I've ever been around in my life, and I'm from Detroit. So
thank you.
So they don't. What he's trying to say is they don't have many good singers in Detroit.
Yeah, there's clearly outshined a very small group of
There's been a few. But the fact is it's just so obvious. Anybody that takes the time to hear your music and hear your voice, it's just it's unbelievable. It's a voice that you've already heard, even if you haven't. You have an incredible talent, and beyond just your voice, it's not like a trick. It's not like you have one of those voices where you can get it to sound good, with some, bunch of bullshit on it or in certain conditions. I've literally never heard your voice on anything and haven't been oh, that fits right in. It's even uncanny talent. So the fact that, and you're an amazing lyricist. You write super fast and super great lyrics. You're the whole package. So regardless of what happened, my opinion, Usher's opinion, whatever, whoever's opinion is, it is what it is. But to me, you should be king of the world in the singer department.
I watched the episode when it aired with my friends, and everyone agreed that Mitch by far had the best song and was leaps and bounds the best singer. And no hate on the kid that won that episode, but he's a great songwriter, but that dude couldn't sing a lick. No offense, but I feel like maybe Mitch's song was a little too. Maybe it had a little too much depth to it. Yeah, it was.
I kind of had a feeling I didn't think I would place the song, to be honest with you, because it's just too. It's too something. It's too whatever it was. It's a good song, and it would have to have been reworked. I did expect. To be completely honest with you, I did think I would make it to the round where they get in the studio and completely change it around, but in a way that's very much on par with how I feel and who I am as an artist. That didn't really even happen. So it didn't happen in a kind of appropriate way, where it was kind of it felt like to me, at least watching it after that. Because I actually went first when we performed that, when we filmed it. And the other people that went, I'm not going to say who, it was a lot of nerves. There was one person who came back after they performed. They were like, I fucked that up. That's not happening. And I honestly thought I would make it to the next round. But it was just the kind of thing where it worked out honestly in my favor and for who I am and everything like that. And I just got to be myself on TV, and that's really, I wrote a song in my apartment, and somehow got it there and got to sing it in front of millions of people. So that's the the success story, and it was really cool. And there's no ill will or it's reality television. At the end of the day, I was just happy to sing the song.
I just say what I want. I don't care who's going to flame me for it. But I've seen the contract for Songland and the splits on those songs, because I had a song called Blood, which I'm actually putting out in a couple of weeks, but it was being considered for the first season there. And the amount of percentage, at least in the contract that I saw, that you're giving up of your track is fucking nuts. Just off the jump, they're trying to lock up all these percentages before anyone's touched shit, just coming in cold. We don't even know how much anyone's going to do this, but guess what? You're only getting a fraction of this thing come out of the back of this. So,
right.
It could have been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I don't even remember what the NDA says, but I will say this, it had my song gone on to even just get touched, it would have been a very different ownership story. And the fact that it didn't make it to that next round, I actually didn't have to give up what we're talking about here. So I actually feel very good about where all that stands, and the song can be used however I see it. I mean, the theme of the last 6 months to a year in a lot of music circles is ownership. And that's a good example of, what's the trade-off in that situation? To me, I was willing to trade that off. I mean, if he took the song, like Ryan, placed the song, like he won the thing, and like, of course, take your percentages. Of course, I'm in the position that I'm in, and I'm on a big record with a big artist. Great. It's just the other records being touched, changed those ownership numbers. But luckily, I kind of avoided that. But at the end of the day, it's a look. At the end of the day, I think we all know this, and we all kind of have the same thing where it's like, it's just a song. Like, if you have one song that is the most important song to you, then you're not a working musician, because we all have so many songs we've made. Like, we have to kind of be a little less.
It's a numbers game, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, I really like the, let's get into the ownership conversation, because that is freaking huge right now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the more musicians take this ownership narrative, we need to own our stuff, it's almost like the more pushback has been happening from the big labels and corporations recently. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but Spotify recently just started, I don't want to say too much shit, but like payola stuff and major label placements are become more of a thing there again than ever before, as independent artists try to make a jump for owning their masters. And then I don't know if you guys saw the stuff about TikTok, but all of the big labels have now struck deals with TikTok, Warner being the last one that was out, and is now recently, that was just announced yesterday, that they have a deal with TikTok now, who is looking to release their own music platform, if you guys don't know.
Did not know that.
No,
but I'm on the own your masters route, because I've seen what happens with those payouts when a song does blow up. And I've seen I have a song out with Republic that's got 22 million streams on Spotify. Like, you guys think that I've seen like a fucking penny of that? Like, no shot. Like, when will I? Like, we don't even know. I think
let me ask you about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you see, because obviously we're talking about recouping, right?
Recoupments.
Do you keep up with that? Do you, people talk about, I'm actually doing that right now, where I'm trying to look at some older stuff. Do you see how they spent the money, or do you get that deep into it? Is it kind of a lost cause? Like, how do you feel about it at this point?
I mean, so what I'll tell most listeners on here that you don't know about labels is they're most labels, especially major ones, and I don't have a problem talking shit about major labels, because fuck them. They're going to hide their accounting from you as much as they can for as long as they can. So let me call out Republic Records really quick. Shout out, guys. They haven't shown me my accounting in 4 years. And they're like, if I don't see it this year, guess who gets audited? That label does, because I have a feeling they owe me some fucking money at this point, because my advance wasn't that much.
Do you have that in your contract that you can audit?
That haven't accounted to me in years. Dimmock Records being another one who's not a major label, but they sure like to play ball like they are. And artists, if you got deals out there with labels, like, be up their ass to see the books, to see where your money's being spent.
Because they do absolutely inflate things. Like, if you can get a ledger of like line by line, and you look at what they're charging you for certain things, I mean, it's really not shocking when you look at what it is. But yeah, like in-house services and like all the shit that's on there, like, it's tipped. So like, yeah, you're putting a little cheese in your pocket or whatever. Sometimes not. I've had situations where like I've been, like, just, I'm like, what the fuck? This thing's doing okay. I know I didn't make any like star-studded music videos. I didn't do anything like insane for this release. Why is it still in the hole? And then like, you look at, what they're charging you for, and it's like, okay, this is absolute bullshit. And a lot of times they'll have companies, or I don't know about a lot of times, but in my situation, they'll have companies that are still their companies that they're subcontracting things to, where they get to manage what that middleman fee is. And, it's a way to keep it in the family, so to speak, too. So I cannot I don't understand an argument at all. I was just having a discussion with a friend about they had, you know, a really big opportunity, you know, to sign with a kind of the perfect big label for their intersection, and they're excited about it. And I kind of just felt like in the inside, I was kind of like, I'm excited for you too, that you're up for consideration with that. But like at the same time, like literally everyone around me has this moment of like where they're excited, and then just like years of lamenting that they have to deal. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody in the room, right? Like that they have to deal with all these dicks in your pie, you know, like for the rest of, you know, however that goes. And it's never fun to have dicks in your pie, I guess. No one's using that analogy, but the thing is, it's true. And so I try to talk them off the ledge, you know, to be like, focus on building a community, focus on building yourself.
100%.
Like, you can get a moonshot, but like, look, like when have you seen really someone without a community and without a heart-to-heart presence get one of these big exposure plays and have it launch them? Like it doesn't work. It just doesn't. And then you don't like, you lose creative control and you lose money.
Yeah, I mean, when we all know too that nowadays, like music's so secondary, or not even secondary, to having just an overarching brand. Like when I grew up, it was like music and then like all this other shit, and then it fell down.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like your brand and who you are on the internet, and then music's like somewhere like down in here. So to even like when you're signing music to a major label and they're going to take 84% of it or whatever kind of deals are striking right now. I don't even know. When I signed to one, that's what it was. And it just seems fucking crazy when that's not even like such a primary focus anymore of having a brand, quote unquote.
You guys remember that why can't I think of the name of the movie? Orange haired chick with Bruce Willis, Multipass.
Fifth Element.
Oh fuck.
What, Fifth Element? Fifth Element? Seventh Element?
Yeah, Fifth Element. Yeah. So Chris Tucker in Fifth Element, his character.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
he embodies what I think it actually takes right now to be like a star, to be like a modern like sort of like star. It's like he's famous for some reason, for something, and it's because he's just so cringe. Every moment, every second that you're with him is so dramatic and so cringy, and being filmed.
Yeah, he's always got the camera.
Second, like blurbs all around him. Like I think about it a lot. I'm like, everybody looks like Chris Tucker to me in that movie. Just this like little, and then, but it's working. I mean, it looks like the same thing. Yeah, music feels like it's absolutely secondary.
Why are movies so foreshadowing of what ends up actually happening? And then where the fuck is my flying car and my hoverboard at the same time? But still.
Mm-hmm. Mitch probably knows every single Simpsons like future call. You probably know them all by heart.
Yeah, I mean, I think they actually in the last couple of seasons have like upped those moments. You know,
they're trying now.
They're like, well, you know, we're already, you know, shooting a pretty high percentage. Let's just throw a few more out. But
what's your favorite one? What's like the spookiest one to you?
You know, to be completely honest, I don't even remember really which ones came true. I don't even. It's not really. I don't even remember. I know all the lines, but I don't know like in relation to what's happened. I mean, the thing about The Simpsons is all it takes is an intelligent person to look at situations and understand history to kind of have a generalized idea of what might happen. And that's the thing about, you watch the news every day and it's like, I can't believe this happened today. It's like, well, you really can believe it because we're all leading to the same place in this story arc that we're all kind of putting out there.
I'm looking at some right now, and they had in 1995 in season 6, they had FaceTime where Lisa talks to Marge on her
future
phone,
episode
on her phone through video chat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like the Trump escalator one is like, it's probably the most famous one.
Yeah.
That's fucking creepy with the way the sign falls and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, that one's right here. Yep.
That one's spooky just because of all the, like, you know, it's one thing to hit the nail on the head with, like, you know, the big circumstance or whatever. And it is almost like the, you know, when you're driving, you're like, don't hit the barrel, don't hit the barrel, and then you hit the fucking barrel. We hit the barrel as society, and we wound up where we are right now. And
there's
so
a word for that, eh?
What'd you say?
There's a word for that. It's target fixation.
Yeah.
When you focus on not doing something so much that it makes you more likely to do it. Pilots do it.
No better thing that I realized that from is riding a motorcycle, and you're just like, anywhere your head is going, that is where you are going. If you are looking at the ground, you are going into the ground. Like, and no other. The car, you're not getting that on. Even a bicycle, to the level of like you go where your eyes and your body is fixated, and you could try all you want, but you're going in that direction. So yeah, to your point,
put your focus in the right spot.
Surfing's like that too. Yeah. You must focus on what you can control. But that shit where the sign falls and like all the surrounding elements, it's all the little details around it where it's like shot by shot the same shit happens. It's almost as if someone knew he was coming down that escalator and brought the sign and like wanted it. It's almost like some Simpsons super fan like made it happen or something. It's too fucked.
But it really like that definitely because I can't remember. It's 33 seasons of this thing. I can't remember what happened. So like,
33
did that really happen? Did that really precede that event? Like, did that actually happen, or because I feel like there's so many memeable things. Okay,
it did.
It's just law of very big numbers, though, right? Like, we notice it because it happened. It was just a random coincidence. Like, life isn't like every second there's a massive coincidence like that. Every so often, some wild coincidence happens.
And then we take note of it, and then we're certain it's a simulation.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you find yourself having wild coincidences, like at moment to moment, you should probably get it looked at. I know a couple people like that. People not shitting on, like numerology and stuff like that. But like, I know I've got a couple friends that like, they get a little bit into it and they just start looking at the numbers on like literally everything. They'd be like, it's funny that you said that at 2:42. It's funny that you said that at 2:42. We're like, oh my God,
down, guys.
We all know that's a slippery slope when you start.
Dude. Yeah. Like, you gotta be careful.
Definitely 5G adjacent.
Yeah.
5G.
Yeah, everyone's fine with 4G. No problems there.
4G.
Well, that's because it's an even number of G's.
Right.
Oh,
It's like this chat right now. There's 4 G's, so we're fine. But if we added one more G, it'd be no bueno. We'd all start getting cancer. Windmills would spread out of our faces.
That's right.
We already have plastic particles inside of our bodies.
Oh yeah.
Are we taking it down? Are we going? Is this where we're going?
We all ate McDonald's in the 90s.
Yeah, right.
It's fucking over. Come on now. I'm currently drinking a Coors Banquet, so what does that tell you?
When you say like we're all headed towards this, like we were all sharing this story arc, and like the influence that fiction does have on like our reality, where we notice things start to resemble these things and then kind of pull them that way, is a bit horrifying. Because I mean, sci-fi is my favorite genre. I'm wearing a Space Godzilla shirt right now. Represent.
Sick.
And my big problem with sci-fi is that it's always negative.
Yeah.
Like all of our future shit, all of our futurism was negative. There was a point though that is coming back around where the aesthetic of futurism was positive, and it was like in the late 90s when everybody was stoked about the year 2000. So like Y2K aesthetic stuff has come back full circle because there's like this futuristic optimism, but they couldn't back it up with the tech that we can now. So that's been cool to see. And I encourage more of that. And I'm like pushing that in my own lanes, because I think that like you can have kind of cryptic sci-fi, kind of dark imagery or whatever, but like have it be something positive. Like let's talk about how there's been a lot of great advances that we've had too. We've been able to do things with medicine and with sustainable technologies that are incredible. There's been a lot of shit, but there's been also an incredible amount of good. And especially this year, we've seen humanity sort of retaliate in kind with a tremendous amount of good if you're looking for it. And but if you're not looking for it, you won't see it, and it certainly won't find you with what is most pressed upon, because people are looking for all the sensationalized things. But I just think it's really important to go out of your way to focus on, you know, what could be cool about X, Y, and Z. And I won't digress harder on that, but I think it's a big deal.
We're trying to sell movie tickets, though, man.
Well, it's true. You even mentioned, you know, I thought about it recently. I was like, you know, space exploration, you know, was a very, I mean, we lived in a monoculture previous to, you know, whatever, mid-90s. And to have, you know, space be such a huge, like, such a big thing in the country since post-World War II. And to follow all those races, and it was in the, you know, just the public's mind space. It was there, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're just inundated with every other reason to take our attention somewhere else. It's still like there are articles that somehow, like you just said, somehow I find them. I don't necessarily look for them. Somehow it gets to me, and I'm like, this is big, like some technological advancement or like scientific thing. I'm like, this is huge. I'm thinking like this would be like front page news in 1968, but like right now it's like, yeah, we just expect to be a certain, as the problem with many generations and wherever you are in time, you think this is the furthest point and you can't fathom where it goes from there. So it's just like, this is it.
Wait.
Yeah, like the protein folding thing where they got the machine learning that can like basically go in and help people, help them identify like map out diseases and like this it's like this game changing like medical advancement that will help, you know, everything from like cancer to disease, and like it's like a huge breakthrough. And on Reddit it had like, I was just looking at it compared to like the top 10 like kind of other things, and it was just like, you know, and in certain places you get a little bit desensitized because you see like, oh, new breakthrough cancer treatment, new breakthrough this thing, and you know people are still croaking left and right, so you're like, I don't know if they really got that sorted out yet.
Sure.
So fair enough, it's tough, but that one was like, you had all these people that clearly looked like they knew what they were talking about coming in and be like, this is fucking tight. Like, this is incredible. This will change everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, boo. Or like space shit. I mean, the alien thing, like the government this year with like all the alien stuff casually just being like, yeah, definitely. There's aliens.
Aliens are
everyone being like, wow, okay, cool. Anyway, back
we
to
thought
this
you guys
shit.
knew.
Right.
Don't you think that, and to bring it to make this analogous to music, you know, there is something to be said about the attention span, what is presented to you, what's the public, like, you know, how people input those things. And I feel like there's like this, you know, because you're talking about the cell, you're talking about the cell of other stories negating maybe more important stories or whatever like that, you know. Everything's kind of, you know, dictated by a lot of things that have to do with the cell. And I think, like, you know, we're talking about really like, you know, or like our species changing and stuff. But of course, like you can bring this down to music where, you know, we're trying to cut through the noise with what we think is really important stuff that we want people to find out about and hear about. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but the algorithm, right? You know, like, is that already like, you know, an eye roll at the algorithm, or is, you know, it does have weight to like how much that actually changes our everything.
Yeah, it's everybody's cautious dance with that topic, right? Like, do you embrace it or do you rally against it completely and try to find some other route? Like, do you stick your head in the fucking game? That game specifically, which game do you want to play? I think is what it is. Like,
it depends if it's making you money or not.
There it is. There it is. I agree. Is it taking you down the path to making you money?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're trying to survive off the shit versus if you just want your creative voice to be heard, and what is an integrity? And that's personal to you as an artist. Like, where are you at? Like, are you good? Are you trying to eat off the shit? Or like, do you not care? You believe in yourself that much and you just want your message to get out? Like, how are you going to cut through?
It's a fine line.
I still think it's two camps. You either focus on building a community or you focus on beating that algorithm. I don't see a way around any of those things, and I would love to know more possibilities, more trajectories.
Could you argue that you could build a community that's vast enough to beat that algorithm?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? Is like once you've kind of once you've got a flock and they all believe in you, that starts to help give you a head start in that game, and that you get introduced to other like-minded.
Well, no one thinks you're cool till everyone agrees that you're cool. No one thinks you're cool till everyone sees that everyone else thinks you're cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's high school? Damn. Fuck. Spent my whole life trying to get out of high school and back in it.
It's the same thing.
I just hate busking. I hate the e-busking thing. I just fucking hate it, personally. I think we're all trying different routes here, too, which I think is fascinating. Like, I think every single one of us sitting here is going on a different path right now. And
yeah, I would agree. That's why we're all sitting here.
Yeah, they're all subtly different. Yeah, like the things that I see each of us focused on, which actually I know the least about your path right now, Mitch. What are you focused on?
I'm just winding and twirling towards freedom.
Flailing.
By the way, is this a 420 friendly show or
do whatever you want?
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
It's illegal here.
That's not marijuana.
There you go. Is this a 5G friendly show or?
I don't know. I better
absolutely.
I better turn this phone off.
If it's dump out all 6 of your titties and let's get wild.
What was the? What's going on? Yeah, I mean, excuse me. To be honest with you, the pandemic has really changed things. I don't know.
No way.
Go on.
It's really weird. Things were fine,
things were different than they were. So yeah, I mean, I had a plan last year, especially with I felt like the culmination of almost 2 decades worth of doing music and then getting on television to sing an original song. Like I've been around long enough that I remember the first season of American Idol and how badly people were trying to push me to go on that show. And I was just like, never, ever. The Voice, all that stuff. I'm like, fuck all that shit. Like I'm not a contestant on a game show. Really. That's the way I viewed it. Not to take away from how talented people are on it. I'm talking about the actual just show and the presentation. Yeah. So this was the type of show where I was like, you know what? If there's ever a time in my career where I'm 2 decades deep trying to figure out what to do, I'm singing my song on TV regardless. I'm not singing a cover. It's a songwriter show, so it's not based on an Olympic style grading system. Yeah. I was like, this is a good lower bar as far as like the reality show hype. So I was looking, and I put out an EP called Billions, that night actually when it aired, and I was hoping to. After that, I had some dates, as I'm sure everyone did this year. I had some dates on the West Coast, to kind of go with that, and then I have projects with Brasstracks that I've been working on for 2 years now, and we put out a 2-song thing called Attention Please in July. And mind you, this year has just been so all encompassing, for many, many reasons. And I'll tell you, if you don't know, that show aired on June 15th, and that whole month and plus, we were marching, we were not trying to promote and self-promote, which is already weird to self-promote the way that you said, or what did you use, Randy? You said earlier, you didn't say promote.
Or e-busking or something.
E-busking. Yeah. So it's always a weird thing to kind of man, I mean, how many times, I can't tell you in the last few years, how many people have had all these strategies about just use it like a person, use social media like a person, don't use it like a billboard. And I'm like, and then if I use it like a person, there's a weird tongue-in-cheekedness that I can use if I'm talking about promotion, because I feel like very self-promoty about certain things, and then you have to kind of like put on this, check this out, we just worked on this for 3, this is the thing, and like you almost like feel like a salesman to yourself, and if you do anything less than that, like, what are you, not excited about your release, bro? Like, why are you coming in so sarcastic? That's not your brand either. And it's just way too much overthinking. Anyway, side note, the whole point was, it seemed like, off that show on a normal year, there would be more to do. So I felt like, I put out a bunch of things. And to be honest with you, at this present time, like I put out a couple of covers in the last 2 months. I'm just finishing up basically 2 projects. I don't know how it's going to come out. They're all Brasstracks produced. And we're just finalizing it. I'm doing mix and master, and I'm going to figure out how to put it out this year. And to be honest with you, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with, this is a weird time. I mean, we always have been fighting and talking to each other about when to put things out. This is a really weird time. Like, and not to say you should have a clear idea, or not to say when things are normal, we even knew when to put things out, or any label had any idea of any sort. There's nothing you can hang your hat on. It's all a freaking guess, and you're throwing money behind a guess. So whatever. I mean, same thing happened, by the way. I'm all over the place right now. But with the covers, it's so interesting. Like I've put out 2 covers in the course of a few years that I swear, like, they're not the ones that I thought would do anything. They're the ones that I didn't give as much thought in, or I was like, I should have done this, and the mix and like both of them have performed really well in a way that was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't decide to second guess myself to the point of not doing what I did. Because we all second guess all this stuff all the time, but it really does make it clear to me every time that, what you said it the other day, Ross, something about like posting about the L's, and like you think, like I did a few covers this year, and one of them did really well on one streaming platform, didn't do well on any of the other ones. In fact, you might even be embarrassed by how not well it did. But on the one that it did well in, that one paid out in crypto. So, you know what I mean? Like
about Audius.
Audius, yeah.
That, and Mitch had, what cover was it? Was it, what was the song again?
3 Hour Drive by Alicia Keys.
Cover Mitch has, and Audius's ICO they went public. Remember that day? And like, their coin was worth a bunch, and like people that were in early. So I was like on there looking for all my friends that like, did they upload music?
Who got rich today? What the fuck is up?
I go to Mitch's profile, and the dude's got in. So I know how much I made, and I had like a nominal amount of streams on Audius, and like I still made a lot. And I was like, I went to his profile. He's got like 10 times what I had, and I was like, yo, dude, listen. You heard about this? You need to cash out immediately.
Yeah, luckily you hit me up because I had no idea.
And then what happened? Then you moved that to Bitcoin, and then then that was when Bitcoin's at $11,000, and now it's like 34 something today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just checked it a second ago. It's just exploding. I can't stop looking at it.
I am exploding from it. Yeah. It's at $35,300.
No, it's at 37,000 right now.
No way. Are you kidding?
Yep, 37. It's rallying, and then Ethereum's at 1,200 right now.
Well, the US dollar is the one that's kind of going.
Yeah. So that's why you take out. So I bought into Bitcoin when it was $1,400 back in 2017, and I was screaming at my friends to buy it. And what I kept doing was I was getting these small. Like I bought like a whole Bitcoin, then I bought a whole nother one, but then I was getting these small little increments of payments from like Create TV for like my tracks on YouTube. And I decided that every month that they send me that $300, whatever it is, I'm just going to buy Bitcoin with it. And I did that for like 2 years. And so you turn that's just reinvesting yourself. You turn that tiny bit of fucking nothing that you're making off music, because we all know how that goes.
You got to put it into shit that gets returns. Multiple revenue streams, even outside of music, guys. But yeah, Mitch had
he had
it was just that one thing. Everything else had like nominal plays, and
but
that one.
But it really helped you have a great year by just that. It's this small win. It's just this small win set you up to have an investment in Bitcoin that's currently taking off. That I think Bitcoin's going to be $300,000 by 2025 easily. So, fuck, man. Like that one cover song that you thought was maybe shit could be like your 401k.
And I feel like we all probably have stories like that. There have been syncs that, commercials that I got years ago that were from songs that I swear like didn't have 2,000 listeners, like I didn't have 2,000 plays on platforms, like always, and went on to make way more than that, just syncing it to a commercial. So it's just like, there's no point in holding on to any of that stuff. There's no point at all.
Every sync I ever got is some unpopular song that has some minimal amount of plays, and but on the back end, I made all this fucking money off it, more so than something that fans see that seem, he must make a lot of money on that track, and it's like not a dime actually. It's something you never heard.
Even unreleased shit, like all my syncs have been off of unreleased shit. I just make sure that the right people have them to use them for syncs. So like you can just be sitting on a pile of shit, but don't let that literally be a pile of shit. Like
don't let it smell up your hard drive.
Yeah, like put it to work, because I got syncs this year on things like I was like, what? Like this was like it was like 7. It was one of those things where it's basically an idea. It's like 7 tracks, and like it sounds like a thing, but like like what that got it. Like you just never know. Like you have to get things. You have to broom it out somehow. If you're not going to put it out, at least have it be working for you. I mean, that's when you get wealthy. I don't know from personal experience.
I was like, get to my level.
I've read in the books this, but and I've been around enough millionaires to see the distinction, and the mindset is that when you're using things like compound interest in your favor versus having it work against you, which is really that's really the gate, is that compounding interest is the gate. On which side of that gate are you standing on? Is it chewing into your life and fucking you up, or is it elevating you and making you money while you sleep? And you can look at your effort as a kind of wealth. You can look at like the things that you create as a kind of wealth.
100%.
And you can look at it the same way as which side of the gate are you standing on. Like, and the difference is your self-deprecation and your self-auditing and your perfectionism and your, gnawing anxiety is a form of, negative credit, a debt that you're creating by letting that shit sit around, versus you put it in play, whether that means you put it out or you go out of your way to get it somewhere, or it can have a life, then it's working for you while you sleep. Like that's the thing is Ross is the king of at bats, and dude's got a zillion projects, and all this shit's just gotta come out. You gotta get it out. It's gotta do work for you. It's the same thing as, playing in the stock market or having crypto or something. Your songs will work for you while you sleep.
Well, go ahead, Mitch.
Oh no, just because you just mentioned, what do you have, 4 or 5 projects?
4. I had 5, but I don't do that 5th one anymore. But, yeah.
Ooh, now it felt like you don't want to talk about that 5th one.
No, that 5th one was great. It was Lux and Paula. It was a trap project, and I actually got a huge sync off that project. And I always wanted to sign something to Owsla, and I put that first EP out through them. So it was actually really successful. I just creatively just blew my load on it and didn't really know where to go, so I just pieced out. But
right.
Yeah,
hey,
that's how
T-shirts are worth more now. That's all.
Hey, you learn.
But yeah, I mean, I have the same thing, but I haven't hit the the release button on a couple of other projects, and it's not even. Sometimes, especially when you're working with other people and stuff like that, you just have to somebody's just got to be like, let's just put it out, because we can all get into that place that we do by ourselves or with other people. But I have 2. I have an 80s project that absolutely should come out this year. And I also have this rock project that I'm currently working on. But I'm actually curious what you think, because I get a little overwhelmed. It's like, they all mean something to me. They're all being worked on at the same time. But I feel like it's this weird, like, do you make lists of like what thing to work on, what day, or, you know, do you have like everything like, do you look at it like that? Is that how you work? Or you just kind of like attend to what
I
is most pressing?
I do it based solely on how I'm feeling and what I'm excited about in that moment. And that can change day to day. Like I would have been super excited about working on my Lucid Daydream stuff up until just like a month ago. And then I just like made all this hybrid pop punk stuff. And then like literally just 3 days ago, it was like, I really want to finish that synthwave album. So like now I'm just been balls deep inside of that thing. So yeah, because I can't work on something if I'm not motivated. I mean, I can, but it's not gonna be fucking great. Like
that's how I felt. I was literally today. I was like, I'm doing all these things I have to do, and we all have these things we have to do, and then there just comes a point where it's just like it's overwhelming almost when you look at like how much music you can make and how many types of execution, you know, ways you can go about execution with these styles of music and all these things, and we have these ideas. And
yeah,
I know you have to go with what I really, to what you said, you have to like kind of run with wherever your heart is like telling you to go, because it's already hard enough without that.
Well, you go with what you're excited about, but then you gotta, you know, and then people are like, oh, but then if you have too many projects and then you fucking, your quality suffers. And I actually beg to differ. You know, I think that you stockpile a huge pile of quality shit and you fucking sit on it, and then you put that out, and then to the public it looks like this crazy roll, like this dude's making a fucking song a week and he's just dropping the shit. It's like, no, psych, like I've had that whole album done for 2 fucking years. Like you don't.
I've got that going on right now.
Yeah, that's what Randy does.
It's the truth. I got another project. I'll send it to you, Mitch. But I've got like a secret project that I've launched in VR, and I'm focused on VR communities, and it's going really, really well. And that's exactly that approach. Was just a stockpiled a bunch of stuff, and then came out like a monster. Like just came out, like played, you know, all original set, like an hour long, all original music no one's ever heard before. So it just was like, you know, then it's something to talk about, and then it's, you know, a thing, and on and on and on.
And public perception thinks you're some kind of fucking animal, like hybrid freak that can make all this amazing shit, when in reality it's like I have been slaving over this stuff for a long time and really like curating these songs and developing myself as an artist. And then when the time is right, because I've been in that, and everyone sitting on this fucking call right now has been in that spot where it's like, you know, the opportunity presents itself before the artist is totally ready. And I mean, I can't speak completely for you guys, but that happened to me, where it was like all these opportunities came in when I released the first StayLoose EP, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck I want to be or do as an artist. I don't even have that many songs or stockpile. I'm like not even that great of a fucking producer. Like at that point, it was like, oh shit. And then so many opportunities just whiffed, and I missed so many because I just wasn't like, now I'm ready for anything, but then like, fuck no.
Get my mans on. You know, speaking of some songs that should come out, you know, the three of us, we got a nice song sitting somewhere.
Oh, that one we did in New York with Mitch. You mean Mitch? Yeah, that fucking song, the heater.
Oh, what's the name of it?
Crossing Lines.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No, I really liked. I want to do something with that at some point. That really has to live, and I know we've said that, but I've come back to songs recently that are old because they're good songs. I mean, like this, like I said, you know, the song that made it to national TV was written 2 years before, 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years before that.
There's a fucking Beatles song.
Know where it's going to go.
There's a Beatles song Paul McCartney wrote when he was 15 that came out like 12 freaking years later. I can't remember what song it was, but it was like one of their biggest songs. And that just goes to show, like, a great song, it doesn't have a deadline on it. It can come out whenever the artist deems that the timing is correct for that song to come out. So some thing that Marty wrote when he was 12 years old could be like his next big smasher at, I don't know how old Marty is now, 28 or 32 or something. Oh, Paul, When I'm 64 wrote at the age of, that dude wrote When I'm 64 at the age of 15.
Wow.
And it got released in 1967 on Sgt. Pepper's, like well into the Beatles' career.
Nuts. Yeah, you're right though. If you got the right stuff, if you got something that's true to, like, you connected and you found something, you can bring it up whenever. Like that set that I just put out, had some stuff in it that I made a few years back that I didn't have a place for, and it all just clicked into the place with this, and people reacted to it as if it was just, you know, some brand new shit that was just happening right now.
Because it is to them.
Yeah, to them
it's all perception.
You know, yeah, and like
I feel there's so many. I mean, like, God, I go back and I always kind of like, I don't know if you do this, but like I don't know, it seems to work out every like 6 months. There seems to be an opportunity or something that happens that kind of lets me go back into like the hard drive or playlist, you know, the private playlist where you're just like, you know, you get stoned and you're just listening to yourself and you're like, oh my God, I am great. I have so much great stuff. And why didn't I put it up?
But ears in review is like, that's a serious fucking vibe. Like, just be up all night stoned as shit listening to all your old music, just being like, what am I fucking doing?
Oh yeah,
what am I doing?
Definitely been there.
Fuck. I do it on walks now, you know, because especially you got to live in the music video while you're listening to the soundtrack, and it's just like, it's a reminder, you know. I think half the like, I feel like that stuff's so important because I think people don't even understand who aren't artists. I like the high that I get from leaving the studio with a song that I made that night that like I really like is
unbeatable.
That's a feeling. There's no money on that. There's no. I don't care even where the song goes from there. You did it for that.
That's literally what I chase. That is what I chase. That feeling right there, and it's so brief and fleeting, you know, because you get it done and you listen, you're just like, fuck it, oh my God, I've jerked off all over myself, and then it's gone, and I just spend the rest of however long trying to chase that. But that's what's going to keep you working as an artist. Is not like the song got 10 million plays and this one didn't. It's the how do I feel when something I fucking love is finished, regardless of what the outcome will be. No expectations, you know.
Right. Yeah, there's a fine line between. I struggle with this as a person and as an artist. This thing of where, and recently I feel like I've hit a groove with it. But there's been this dichotomy between in life and in artistry where you're supposed to be content in the moment. You're supposed to enjoy the moment. You're supposed to be present, be here, appreciate this only thing that's apparently real, which is what you have available to you right in this moment. And with the fact that it's undeniable that a burning, very crystal clear and very specific desire is effective in getting to where you want to go. And to have that crystal clear in your mind, you have to project the future that you want. You have to imagine the future that you want for yourself very vividly and very clearly. And this isn't hearsay. This is, you know, that's the top performing. My big thing lately is I've been reading like athletic performance books, like athletic mindset books and shit, like champion mindset shit. Because my mindset needed some massive tooling.
Just Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I've just been looking at Sports Illustrated, the swimsuit editions only. And so the toll that it takes, not picturing the wins, not picturing yourself or not picturing the song in some exciting context, it atrophies you over time. You don't even realize it. You start to second guess yourself to the point where you're kind of immobilized. And getting to the space where you can merge those two realities, where you have this desire, this burning desire for what you want to have, this outcome that you want, and visualizing it in a very specific way, and then it lining up with your day-to-day activity and like having fun and being in a kind of a flow state. You know, athletes, the top performing athletes, they envision exactly what it feels like when they stick the landing or when they hold the gold medal in their hand. They come up with smells and sights and sounds to trick their mind into thinking that it's already happened as if it's real. And, you know, we've all done that shit. I mean, I used to jump around on my couch when I was like 12, 13 years old and, you know, imagine like, you know, fondling up some girl I had a crush on after the show because I rocked it so hard. You know what I mean? Like that, fondling
up. That's the name of the new album.
No, you know what I mean? Like you envision getting the hook up with your crush because you're so cool when you're 12 years old, 13 years old, that, you know, you made this music and you're a big rock star. That keeps you going to get to that next phase. You know, whatever the carrot is, if it's your crush, if it's your, you know, Fondle's a terrible world. That you you go to that next phase, and in this context, it's where you want to be. Like you don't have to want to be filling up a stadium. You don't have to want to be super fucking ultra famous. In fact, I don't even want that. But it's what do you want? What's the impact of your artistry? You have to use that as like you saying, you go for a walk and have the music video. You got to power yourself up to envision that song in like this context to get you stoked about it and all the possibilities with it. Always. Connect with that, and then you ride that energy into the next thing and keep yourself in this like place of being stoked about what you're doing and stoked about where you're going, and have those energies kind of, push each other along.
Randy's right. You got to vividly picture where you're at, and it can manifest itself by that. And
it's hard. It's hard though, right? I mean, don't you have a hard time with it? Because I have a real hard time with it. We've had these
talks before, Mitch.
Well, yeah. It is hard. I mean, you have to but you have to stop. You have to stop allowing yourself to believe that that's not reality. Like, you'll have some crazy like pipe dream thing that you believe, some pipe dream. You're like this and that and that, and then a lot of people will reel themselves back in. I'd reel myself back in, like, for you to stop with that. You need to be humble and stop worrying about that shit. Don't think like that, because that's not reality. It's like, you're never going to get it if you don't actually let your mind.
Well, I wonder, but I guess the question that I have, and what maybe some other people might have, is like, what are you talking about? Is there anything that's like a better way to look at it or a worse way to look at it? As in, are you talking about picturing the moment where you hear the song on terrestrial radio, or are you talking about seeing zeros in your bank account, or are you talking about some specific thing? Is it for you?
Yeah, what is it for you?
Does it matter? Is it is one thing more vain or one thing less important to focus on? Like, as in, what you have to focus hard on something, right? Is there anything that you shouldn't be focusing on?
The negative.
Well, no. There's a double-edged sword to what you focus on. Is what you're saying. Like, there's some things.
Like, what if it's money and you kind of, I don't know.
Okay. Well, right. The money thing specifically. Okay, fine. It doesn't have to be money. I think what makes the most sense to me is look back through your mental playbook for the last 10 years and pull out everything that felt the best. And do it quick. Let whatever flies in the fastest is the thing that's most, burned into the record. Pull those things up. What are they? What are the characteristics of those things? Is it that you're on stage in front of a lot of people and it's going great? Is it that you accomplished something and you finished it and you feel great about that? Is it that you got paid? What is it? What are the things? Because all the rest of the whole thing is intertwined. You just need to find the energy from the thing that is the most meaningful to you. Like, it's all intertwined. All the rest of the shit will come. And yeah, you got to focus on not getting fucked on your money. And yeah, you got to focus on certain aspects of the game, but like, to show up every day and have ruthless work ethic and a champion mindset, you have to stoke yourself up with what makes sense to you, I think.
Yeah.
I love the athletic words creeping into your vocabulary.
Fucking me up. I know, it's weird.
I hope it just keeps getting more intense every time we do this.
You got to go for the kill. You got to go for the fucking end zone. You got to
no pain.
Absolutely no pain. I'm numb to pain. Anything but champion shit.
Just got to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One play at a time.
Yeah. I just got to sing the notes into the mic, That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just
that's what I do every day.
One throat move at a time.
Just think of words that rhyme. I'm out there every day.
See, watch this cat. So, Marty, do you do any kind of visualization? Is that something that's in your wheelhouse, or is it something you used to do that you don't do? How do you feel about it?
Visualization in terms of goals.
Just feeling good about your life and your project in general. Yeah.
The meditation I've been doing since June, there's a visualization associated with it where you picture a creative spark inside you that then expands. And it's interesting how, like, there's so many, anything with meditation seems so simple, right? Like, just focus on your breath seems so simple, but like, if you do it for an extended period of time, you just notice such wildly different things every time. And I just, initially I was thinking of creativity as something that sort of flows out of you, but it didn't feel right. And so recently I've been thinking of it as something that is already there. It's omnipresent, and I just have to connect with it. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the visualization I do. All I try to do is show up every day and keep myself like enjoying the process of making stuff. And I just sort of hope blindly that everything else will follow. And so far, I'm not dead. So
you got
these are the barometers we're all using right now, which is so far we're not dead, and we're gonna just keep doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I've got enough money to live for the next few months at least. So hey, shit,
you're doing all right, man.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
In today's so the psychology of that is really interesting. The disconnecting creativity from yourself, and that's a big deal. So this whole concept of, there's like a rad TED talk, as there is about everything, but there's genuinely a rad TED talk about this, about this person wanted to identify the origins of the starving, tortured artist. And they did some looking into like, when did this appear? When did this archetype appear of like this like bottomed out piece of shit artist, tortured all the time, like, you know, kind of thing. And it happened.
It's like you've known me all my life.
Seemingly it happened when the distinction of something like genius. So genius it was something that lived in the walls of a place. It inhabited, you know, the corridors and the halls of somewhere. It wasn't something that you possessed. It was something that you accessed, similar to what you say. And when the distinction of genius was then internalized and created, that it seemed like it created all this misery for tons of people. But that previous to that, when that idea wasn't popular, that it didn't seem that it came from you. Or even the concept of like the muses, for instance, like Quincy Jones, he one of his, you know, things is like the muses come out at night. He only make music at night because he said the muses come out at night. There's what's that book, Ross, about doing the work, the resistance book?
A War of Art.
War of Art, and his sit down routine is he invokes the muses before he sits down to write every single time. Literally invokes the muses as in, you know, in the Iliad or whatever. So that's really fascinating and really helpful, because then you get the fuck out of your own way. It's not coming from you. You are accessing. Psychologically, that's a huge deal, because you can't be mad about what you didn't get. You didn't get a big enough tear off of the creativity cracker that day. You know, that's not of you. You know, that's not coming from you. You didn't fuck that up. Like that, I think that's a really, really healthy mindset. I have a giant tattoo. This giant exclamation point is a tattoo that reminds me of that. That's my creative place, and it's meant to be a reminder for me that there's one big simple thing, and it's not you.
Getting hauled off to jail, like it wasn't me, it was the muses.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Do you have a sense historically of when the idea of genius like arose as a thing like that? Is it like
internalized? When people started internalizing?
Yeah, when it switched from something being in the walls to something that has to come from you.
Yeah, it was fairly recent, if I remember right. It was like within the last like couple 100 years, or
I think it was right around the time of that first Jacob Collier album.
Hey.
Do you think? Are you talking about not only what that word, the type of pressure that puts on the person that we're talking about, or the way that the people look at that person?
Oh, the way that the person, like you as an individual, internalizing that as I am a genius. The genius is of me. It is from me. Like I am the projector. Like it starts and ends with me, versus I'm a conduit. Like I see myself as a conduit. Like things flow through me. There's been shit. I know that's true. There's been shit that I've done that I could not replicate. Okay, for instance, the chords on that tune that we worked on in Brooklyn, the way that shit just flew out of me right there. I don't know we were just in that room vibing, and that shit just flew out. If you asked me to do that right now, I probably couldn't do it, you know, with a gun to my head on the spot. That shit just happens.
Yeah, you can't.
I listened to a
plan
song
that shit.
I listened to a song last week or whatever. I was out and somebody was like, "Oh, play that song of yours," and I ended up hearing a song I wouldn't have gone out and listened to of mine from 4 years ago. And I don't know if you've done this with your stuff, where it's like, you don't set out to listen to it. You just end up hearing it, and then you're listening to it like a listener 4 years later, and you're like, what? Like those decisions, you're like, that's not who I am now. I would never do it like that now. You're like, who is this person? Yeah. It's kind of interesting. It's a snapshot. You obviously have to like exist and live with that. That's fine. But it is pretty cool to do every so often. You're just like hit with your own growth.
Yep. Or listening through the ears of someone else. I love that. When you play your music with someone sitting next to you, it's almost like you kind of hear it through their lens. And you'll hear it different. And sometimes it can fuck your shit up. Like, so I'll listen to my music with certain people and I'll be like, oh, because you're listening through their ears, which is a psychotic thing.
All right, just 5 more. Just 5 more songs, I swear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's a healthy thing to do, to review and to reflect on your growth. I think that's like super healthy. Dude, getting to witness your own creation as a bystander is like such a rare and cool thing. And only time can do that, it seems like, or being super fucking stoned.
Yeah.
Being outside of your body.
That's how I've been testing my album. Just get super baked and listen through it like, oh, okay, we need some saxophone there. We need a chord change there.
Dude,
just like make notes to read later.
Who else smoking right now? I'm not smoking weed right now. I know Mitch is. But I mean, like not right this moment, but like in general, is it a part of your creative process?
No, I'm not. I haven't smoked weed in a while.
It's not a part of my creative process, but I have been smoking.
I go through cycles with it. Yeah. Like,
I never smoked before this year, before about March 15th.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No shit.
He's
letting it all go. He got the tattoo, smoking weed. He's fucking gonna be skipping school before long.
Fuck school. Get money.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. A lot of it, I mean, I'm just making an excuse. I've just been smoking forever and making music forever, but more so even now because I'm not really in a studio. I'm like at home in a home studio, and like,
that's a studio. You have 2 guitars on the wall.
That's how you know.
That's what that says. But there's a lot of distractions at home. Everybody's different. Some people can really do that. For me, I really liked going to studios because it took me out of this place, and I got to, change the whole perspective I have on things. And I like to get into a different place when I start writing. So I've always used weed to kind of be that helpful, shift out of the mundane. And right now, at least the work situation I'm in right now, it's like, oh my God, because there's just so many distractions. For me, it's nice to like focus on. That's how I use it.
I just see Mitch at home, like, we're trying to write a song. He's like, ooh, cat. Ooh, cat. Oh.
Ooh, cake.
Yeah, no, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Like, I'm my best self without it, and I know that. But I also write super good shit. Like, some of my favorite shit I've ever written in my life, I know for a fact I was fucking blazed for like a solid month while I made it. Like, and I had access to some other shit, because it does shift your perspective. It does get you out of the way. But for me, there's components of my personality that it destroys, and it's likely due to the fact that I think if I stopped smoking long enough before bed, it maybe wouldn't do it, because it does fuck up your sleep if you smoke too close to bed.
Right.
That cumulative impact makes me not finish, complete, or stay on track with like anything. Like I just the wheels fall off for me. But I think it's a tremendous tool. I think like psychedelics are a tremendous tool, and I think
absolutely
weed is a tremendous tool to like access different kinds of angular creativity. I just wish that it didn't. I wish I could just only get the good parts of it.
I think I also think, I think weed also exacerbates whatever personality you might have. I try not to blame any one thing, because I have the same tendency you're talking about, which is to procrastinate, and weed is clearly it can be a procrastination altering thing.
Everything's fine, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just watch another episode. It's fine.
You don't need sleep.
Yeah, I'm still here, Netflix. Keep going.
Just wake and bake. You'd be fine. But also, you know, there are plenty of times where, God, I swear, you know, smoking was like keeping me sane in these incredibly rapid fire, you know, periods of my life where I couldn't stop. There was so much going on. So, you know, it's application, like you just said. You know, you have to kind of figure out how it works for you, if it works for you. But, you know, we all have to stay on ourselves at the end of the day. You know, like, just do what's best for yourself and kind of just.
I've been microdosing crack, so we're pretty sick.
That's a new one.
It's cheap. It's effective. That's you're gonna get more for your buck.
That's for sure.
Toronto's last mayor was doing that without the microdosing.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I a lot. There's certain musicians though too. I wish just smoked weed. I feel that sometimes. I'll be like, man, I love this dude. I just wish he would get super fucking high and do his shit sometimes. Just like I just want to hear what that's like, you know. So that I do love it. It just I think it compounds anxiety for me too. It may not happen for everyone else, but like I journal every day. I take like a long form journal and I have a shorthand journal, and I've done that nearly every day for a long time, like 8 years, something like that. And I'm pretty dialed into who I am, and I definitely notice shitty trends with my anxiety with weed. Even though I think it helps, it makes it worse for me. Like
I was just talking about it with another artist recently about how much weed it'll, you know, we were talking about the strain will do certain things, but also application and just those exact things where I swear there's times where it is the most anti-anxiety, is the best, you know, the best for anti-anxiety, like better than, you know, prescription, you know, synthetic things. And then there are other times where it will spiral you into a death level of anxiety and just like, you know, sitting alone, not wanting to even look at the phone type of a thing. But, you know, I don't know. I guess you have to figure out which one does what, and not be surprised after a while if you're not getting the results you want, you know, and you're not changing those things. Then, you know, that's what kind of what you get. And there's so many people who are like, just doesn't work for me. It's not my thing, you know.
Yeah.
Because they know it doesn't react well with them.
It works for me at different times. Sometimes it's not working for me, and other times it is working for me. And currently, it's not working for me. But sometimes I really need it. What does work for me is I do microdose, not crack cocaine, but I do microdose like every 4 or 5 days, and I like that.
You talking about edibles?
Not weed.
Okay.
Yeah, like LSD.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is that working? I've been
same. And it's amazing. It's changed my life. Yeah.
See, and that's funny to a stoner. We're like, you're coming out here and you're like, I don't need that weed shit. You fucking stoner. You don't do shit. And then you're like, yeah, I'm out here sticking needles between my toes, you know, but every other day. No, but 100%. Like I say that out of like almost like total like enviousness. Like I want that because I do know the clarity you can get from microdosing certain psychedelics. Absolutely. It's like too many people have told me that it's good for it not to be. It's
insane. I started doing that 4 years ago. It was the catalyst to me like cleaning up certain parts of my life and then deciding I was going to live in Maui, because why wouldn't I live in the most beautiful place I could get myself into? And like, you know, it takes a significant shift in your consciousness to be like, I'm literally moving to Maui. Like I'm throwing all my shit in storage and I'm like literally doing that. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been microdosing before that. Cause it's just like, you know, in my life, I kept playing Hawaiian music to relax. I kept like, you know, there's just all these things about, I just kept dreaming and pining over it. And I'm like, dude, just fucking go. Like it's your life. Like, but beyond that, it clears the racing thoughts up for me. Like not the day of, it's the day after, and the day after you wake up just clear. Like you just wake up. There's nothing like pummeling you in the middle of the night when you waking me up about my puny like semiform existence and a careless universal maw that will soon chew me up and spit me out.
There it is.
That happens. Like and if I go long enough without it, like I get literally flicked in the nuts at 3 a.m. by some kind of horrific universal spirit that reminds me of my mortality and my abysmal state, and then I'm left with that, and good luck going to sleep. It clears all that shit out for me. And I think we all got bats in the attic. I would recommend it for literally anybody that's semi-sane.
I think of it like, when it snows and then you've walked through it and it leaves that path in the snow, and then it still gets icy and it's cold out and that path's there. And then the new snow comes and it fills that in. That's what microdosing is like to me. It like fills in that path that's been
It's a great analogy.
Set there for a long time. And that can be like traumas usually, it's really great at helping deal with that.
Do you take anything else with it? Like I do lion's mane, chaga, and niacin and vitamin D all together.
Yeah, vitamin D, L-theanine.
Yeah.
Caffeine.
Yeah, makes a big difference. The lion's mane especially.
I need to get into the lion's mane. You keep talking about that. I need to get into it.
Well, yeah. Wait, you try one with the lion's mane popping. Whoo,
yeah,
you're a transformer boy. Yeah, the other shit lights your brain up.
Yeah, I want to be a transformer. Let me fucking.
But it's not intense. It's so subtle. Like I've had cups of coffee that were more,
Yeah,
it's really not a thing. But it does. I notice. You got to get in your body too. Like if you're microdosing, you got to move. You got to move and get around. Your nervous system it promotes neurogenesis. It helps literally. It's this giant list of things that it's most beneficial if you get moving, like anything, which is tough to do right now.
It is. Yeah, my favorite time to do that stuff is when I'm like going out to be moving around. And doing things instead of just like sitting inside, which is all I can do right now.
Sitting inside talking to 3 other dudes.
Hell yeah, brothers.
Yeah.
So, Marty, are you a psychedelic fan? Are you a?
I went to a cottage last winter with some friends, and 3 of us took mushrooms. I had never done it before.
Oh hell yeah!
And I just did like 1.5 grams, and it was just so wonderful. I'm eagerly awaiting an opportunity to do them again, because it's like it feels like sort of a reset in a really nice way. Kind of get back in touch with yourself and just the universe in a really lovely way. And I would love to do that again. And I'm just waiting for the lockdown to end.
So you've done LSD?
No, I haven't. I've been sort of on and off considering microdosing LSD for years.
It's great.
I'll be asking both of you about that more in a bit.
Yeah, I should. Randy and I had a great reset. It's been almost 2 years now.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, that was a much needed thing to happen in my life at the time.
We went to the beach and went to the beach, had a glorious experience, and just like we were just within like an hour, we were just running like little kids up the beach. Just like, when you're a little kid and you can run and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm so fast. Watch this shit. So watch me fucking rip this shit. Look how fast I am, Mom. like that energy. Like we had that energy. Like look how fast I could just move my body. I'm free. Like it puts you back in place like with that. And we had some funny like realizations. Just looking around at everything and being like no one owns anything. Like you can't own anything. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at everything like you don't own any of this, you little bitch. We're all little bitches. Like no one owns anything. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
We crawled out of the ocean and put fences up and then tried to declare that we own things.
Yeah, we were on one. Yeah. It's a concept called Swirly Kingdom.
Swirly Kingdom.
I drew this like swirly kingdom in the sand, and I was like, this is it. This is my swirly kingdom. You can't have it or I'll fucking kill you. That's how this whole thing works. That's like all of civilization is like, I made this little swirl right here. Fuck you. You can't have it. And if you try to take it, I'm going to kill you. That's the whole game.
That was the realization is what are people willing to kill for? And that's what determines these
That's it.
things.
That's the fence.
That's the fence.
It's so funny how obvious everything feels
Yeah,
in
it
that
is.
state.
Yeah.
It's just
That's why the
none of
United
this is
States government
real.
wanted to shut that shit down in the 60s. Like,
Yep.
we got to shut this down. Like, people are wake the fuck up, and they can grasp these tools and these concepts, and they understand things that are so obvious. You know, they got to keep us.
Don't you feel like take that analogy to music and how we all feel about, lowest common denominator music and pop music and certain things that we all don't, just, I guess a lot of us don't get it or feel certain ways about it. Do you feel like you create music for, those LSD heads, the people who do respond well to those things, in the same way that, any sort of niche music might feel to you, that, it's not going to be this, enormous and like global success, but it's in its own right has its place, and it has its following, and it has its community, and you can kind of just zero in on things and not feel like you're missing out.
It just warms my heart to hear you call it lowest common denominator music. It's just so comforting to have that thought come from somewhere outside my head.
Yeah.
We're all sitting in a sphere of snark related to that. We're in snark headquarters as relation to that exact.
But everybody knows it. I mean, I think, like, it doesn't mean that we hate on it. I think there's, like the politician's answer of, we all love some pop. Pop has always created it. We know there's versions that are created for the purpose of being sold, and they happen to have just better reach as far as just how to get to more people's.
It's like junk food, or like
There it is.
tobacco or something. It's just like, it's not necessarily for people who like really love music, but it does still tickle the parts of their brain that, happen to be tuned to like music, just like they put a lot of fat and salt in food to make you like it,
Yeah. Sugar. Yeah.
Like, if you were gonna,
sugar.
if like aliens pulled up right now, if an alien pulled up on me right now, is like, yo, give me the tastiest shit, like right now, just give me like your tastiest food. Honestly, I'd probably go get him a Dorito, because there's that millions of dollars put into the development of the taste of a Dorito. Now, there's all these Michelin star chefs, and there's all this amazing shit that's got more context and all this like nuance. But if you're just going for the chemical surge, I think a Dorito is like, pound for pound, probably one of the most powerful flavors.
He did ask you though, which flavor?
Oh, anyway, that's easy. I mean, you can easily do Cool Ranch.
Yeah, Cool Ranch is great.
Cool Ranch.
Spicy.
Cooler Ranch.
I got to go with that, like the red bag, the nacho cheese, the classic one. I just keep coming back to it. I don't know what the fuck it is. I mean, I know exactly what it is.
Spicy Cheeto, bro.
But as far as the music, the question that you asked though, as to like, are you pandering, or like how big of a net are you comfortable casting? It's, that's highly individualized. What to tie it to the other conversation too. I had a moment where I was on the beach flying on LSD, and I was doing a headstand.
What?
I remember that.
What happened to you out there?
I was doing a headstand, and I was screaming. I was looking at the ocean upside down because I was doing a headstand.
Right.
And I was seeing one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my whole fucking life, just because I chose to look at it by standing on my head. And I was screaming, "You can't sell me shit."
He was actually doing that. He was screaming, "You can't sell me shit."
So
on a beach.
It stuck with me that like we have access to whatever we think is beautiful, and it's up to us to hunt that shit down. And as creators, it's up to us to bird dog that shit. Mm-hmm. So I've been exclusively embracing my nerd and my weird and my like the shit that I think is really, really rad, and presenting that and not giving a fuck about where it fits or if it fits or anything. And I've had more fun creating, and I've had a better reaction to this shit than I've had to anything in ages or maybe ever by doing that. So that's my answer.
Do what you love, and it'll find its audience. And it's not up to you to decide when that's going to happen. And there's no deadline on the success of when it's going to be successful either. You just gotta, I mean, we all know if you don't love the process, get the fuck out, because like you're in for a ride.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like those walks that you take, you listen to old music that you've made, or the walks that you take from the studio to home after you created something you liked. Like that's why I talked about that stuff today, is because that's the stuff that I know I have and I know I can continue to make. Like, and that's the stuff I chase after, to be honest with you. So like maybe I need to focus more on the zeros on the bank, or maybe I need to focus more on how many people I see out in the audience and stuff like that. But to me, like, I know I can actually I know what I can manifest those two feelings, which is just satisfaction from music. Like, I know I can do that for myself now. So I feel like if I keep just doing that and focusing on that, good things will happen. I'm not saying do one or the other. I'm still figuring that out, but like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm just so happy I have that. At least I have the love and the passion for
that should come first, because the love and the passion and loving the process is what's going to carry you through the fucking trenches into success. But you can't also, and I argue this with people all the time, is that you can't just focus. I get all these artists on my TikTok because I'm very vocal on there about stuff. They're like, no, it should just be about art and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, look, I know some of the greatest artists in the world that are like, nobody's ever fucking heard their shit or see their shit because A, they're too afraid to put it out, and or B, they don't also focus on the other side of it too, which, I mean, you do got to focus on getting it some exposure if that's what if you're trying to make a living off art. I'm sorry that if you being happy is waking up and doing what you love every morning, and I'm sorry, but in today's world, like, you're not waking up and doing what you love every morning and being fucking broke too, like, unless you're like a monk. Like, that's pretty hard. I don't think I could wake up and love sleeping on the street. Maybe some people do, but that's not me. So, I think you got to focus on both. Like, yeah, the art should come first, but also like the ones and the zeros and stuff, like, that's important too. But it's figuring out how, the honest you and the stuff you love and you're making, and then it's figuring out how that translates and where that translates and that audience. And then once you figured that out, then you double down on that. And that's when you have that perfect thing that happens where it's like you found the audience and they're in and you're doing what you love. And then it's like fucking bam.
I feel like to a point, just making enough money to do what you got to do is like even more fundamental than being a creative artist. Cause like, you don't have to motivate any of us to make stuff. It's what we do.
True.
We're compelled to do it. Mm-hmm. You just like, and the money seems like, fuck that. That's like not part of the creativity. But like, if you can't fucking eat and you don't have like pants and a bed, then you're not going to be able, like,
you're not making music that day.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get food, you're probably not having much time to make art. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So it's kind of fundamental. And like, to a point, you really have to focus on those things to be able to make your work at all. But then beyond that, it's kind of all gravy. Like, if I have a certain amount of money, like if I can cast forward 6 months and be like, if I don't make another penny, I'm paying rent like this whole time and it's all going to be good. Like, I just don't think about it.
Yeah,
I don't think about it anymore. And that's what I want.
That's the place to be. And I mean, Mitch and I we had this conversation on the phone for like 2 hours the other day where I crawled up his ass about what he's doing and how he should be doing it and how much money do you need to make in order to, because what the thing is creatives is we just need enough money, like Marty said, to survive comfortably and just do our thing to keep creating. So it's like I asked him the basic thing of how much money, the bare minimum, how much money do you need a month in order for you to not work a day job and be happy and just create every day? And he's like, this amount of dollars. And I was like, 6. So your focus right now should be on setting up the revenue streams in order for you to make that amount of dollars every month, so that, and then build those revenue streams as passive revenue streams so that, like Marty said, you don't fucking think about it. Yep. That shit's coming in, it's hitting the bank, it, and you can keep creating. That's how my business is set up. I have passive revenue streams. I know those are hitting the bank every month. I know how much those are. I know how much it costs me to live a month, and I don't worry about the other shit. And therefore I can make art freely without being like, I feel like anxiety on how I need to make a buck at this tomorrow. Because that's the headspace.
I did the same thing. Different ways, but I did the same thing.
There it is. And that's like literally when people are like, how do you do it? What's the secret to success in music? It's like that's it.
Yeah.
To me, for me,
just breathing room. It's just breathing room. Like money just giving you breathing room. Like
there it is.
I can't believe you called it breathing room and not headroom.
Wow.
You know, Randy told me something really important years ago. Randy told me to start treating money a little bit more like it's water. Like just getting in the headspace that it's going to come and go, and there's going to be more available, and that helped me a lot. It really did, because it allowed me to it got me in a different headspace and not focus so much on money. And then as a result of it, I actually just started to make a lot more money. Whether what he said had a real weight on that or not, it just helped my mind at ease a little bit about it.
Directions unclear. I'm now bathing in money.
All water.
Yeah, it's all
I thought
water.
you were gonna say something about salt water versus fresh water, and I was about to be like, all water, okay, all water. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. It's all water. No, I'm not like a money expert by any means, but I have a metaphysical kind of attitude towards money. I just assume that it's there. I assume it's literally flying through the fucking air. It is. It's flying. It's transacting through the fucking air. I know that's overly simplistic, but I think that there's been times in my life, like in my adult life, like where there's no reason why I should have. I don't know. It's just like my optimism carried me towards the purse, basically. Like there was no reason why I should have seized the day that day necessarily. But when I look back and I reflect on it, my attitude is what did it. Like my attitude got me in that position. I assumed that I was worth X amount. I assumed that I would gain X amount, and then it happened. And it's hardest to have that mindset when you're in a negative space. And I've had to deal with that too, because I've issued, my perspective to, or presented my perspective to other people that were having a hard time. Be like, well, yeah, easy for you right now, because you're okay right now. And I'm like, well, yeah, no, I've actually used it in times where I was bottomed out too, and just literally had to put a pin in it and say, hey, I know, yeah, things are tight right now, and I don't really know what the answer is. I don't have to have the answer right now. I just know that it's coming. I know it's there. I know there's opportunities, and I trust myself to access those opportunities. That's it, and leave it at that. I just assume everyone's working. There's always some hustle. There's always something. There's like, you telling me you can't. I don't know. The universe. What I've noticed, at least in my experience, the universe just runs off of energy and the energy of movement. So if I'm actively working and doing things, like the universe just puts shit in motion for me. And I'm not trying to be all fucking hippie about it. I'm just saying that when I stagnate, and then everything else stagnates around it, and then the income stagnates too. But if it's just like guys, just do shit. If you're like listening to this podcast and you feel like you're stagnating or income or success in your profession or just creativity in general, like just do shit, because the universe feels that energy and that movement, and it will just like stir it like a pot, and like everything will just start. It'll come out in forms and ways that you've not even thought were possible or focused on.
Extremely true.
Just move. Just fucking move.
I just posted a thing about this on Instagram, but what the fuck year is it? 2 years ago. The first January I ever did was like after a very long sequence of events where I was like just kind of fucked up for money, and I didn't like the stuff I was making. And I was like, got to a point where it was like January 1st, and I was like, fuck this. It's like really not going where I expected it to go. So I did the January thing just as a way to be like, I'm just going to make shit. And I'm going to put it out in the universe, because that's what I fucking do. And I did that for a month, and come to find out now that 2 business opportunities that I've got, the Xbox game that I'm scoring, and then also I work with this guy out of Boston, or I think it's like northern Massachusetts or something, somewhere in that part of the country. He goes into hospitals and works in cancer wards with kids to like write songs with them. And he saw the January stuff on Instagram and hit me up. And so I produced the songs for the kids now. And it's just like
amazing.
Yeah. Just a couple of things. And it pays a little bit of money too, because he works with the CCRF, the Children's Cancer Research Fund, I think. And so that and the Xbox game both came out of just like, I'm just going to fucking make stuff. and I'm going to put it out because that's what I do. I'm not going to worry about anything else.
And there it is. The thing is that the things that seem small are the things that lead to the biggest opportunities, and too many people get caught up in just where can I chase like what is just seemingly this huge opportunity, and they're just constantly chasing for that, and they're so focused on one lane when the reality of it is that look, everything that's awesome that ever happened for me that was seemingly a huge opportunity came from some just tiny ass fucking thing like putting up those songs that you're putting up. Like it literally came from something that, and then it was like I never thought that would come from that. Like, what the fuck?
It's almost like buying a lottery ticket. If every lottery ticket that you bought increased your chances.
Wow. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's cumulative, right? Like everything you make makes you better at making stuff. And like even stuff that like is a failed experiment may eventually lead somewhere.
Yeah, there are no failures. They lead you to your wins. It's all a learning process or something. I mean, it was Ryan Tedder that pulled me aside and said to me, he was like, you need to stop focusing. This is like the best advice I've probably ever heard, was you need to stop focusing on this big shit and just start realizing that there's going to be accumulation of all these little things you're going to do, and that's what's going to build your career. And he's like, even in my situation where I'm at, that's still how it works, and that is how it all got set up. So,
yeah, you expect it to be like a hit song or something, because that's what, you know, when you're a young person listening to whatever music you really like, that's what you see. You see a big song and then you go discover everything that they've been doing, but you see the big song. But like, I've had a big song. You guys have had big songs. Yeah. It's not a fucking big song that does it.
Nope, definitely not. Especially nowadays, it's such a small, unless that song would have to be so freaking massive, and then you would have to follow it up with so much shit just to stay relevant. You would have to have other big songs already in the fucking ether, already ready to go.
Man, I remember like a couple days after Clear came out, we got it to #1 on Hype Machine. I like put some money into a paid Facebook thing, and a bunch of people went and voted for it, and it sat at #1 on Hype Machine for like 24 hours. This was in 2016, so it was like kind of well into the EDM bubble thing.
Yeah, and I remember Hype Machine was important. Yeah,
that was a big deal.
It was like just after Hype Machine would have been a really, really big deal. And I remember I was in the basement of the Hoxton, as a club in Toronto that closed before COVID, and I remember that. Hunter Siegel, he's like a techno producer now, but he was like a dubstep producer back in the day. He's like, congrats on the Hype Machine, man. If that had happened to you 2 years ago, you'd be touring all over the world right now. And I was like, fucking tell me that.
Yeah.
Shit.
True. Bro,
backhand. Here's a smack with this clap.
But seriously, guys, we used to tour. We used to solely tour off the back of other people's songs. And I mean by making a bootleg remix and putting it on SoundCloud. That would put us on a tour. We can make thousands and thousands of dollars. That's not a thing anymore.
Right.
Now you're touring off of, well, you're not touring at all right now, but when your touring comes back, it's probably off the strength of how great your TikTok videos are banging.
Right. VR, baby. Right. You can reach people all over the place in VR.
It's so fucking random the way money comes in. Like, here's a wild thing that I never told anyone for years because I was afraid, like, you know that like magic thing where if you like look away and look back, it'll disappear. I was like afraid to tell anyone about this thing. Remember Sean Wasabi's, I think it was Marble Soda.
Oh yeah.
Where he sampled like, what was it, like 180 songs or something.
Incredible. Yeah. Played it on his thing.
Yeah. So he had sampled my Octahate bootleg remix, which I made in 4 hours. He sampled that, and I think his laptop had been no, it was before his laptop was stolen, but something happened, and he didn't have any like samples or anything. So I sent him all of the stems and all of the drum sounds from that Octahate remix, and so the drums were used like throughout the whole thing. And he sampled a few of my songs, but he sampled like 180 or something other things, and it was about that time that one of the guys from Create TV, like Ross, you use them, I know, but like they just collect YouTube royalties. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, you want to like set up the YouTube royalty thing? And I was like, sure. So they're looking through the catalog of my stuff and they realize that I've been sampled in Marble Soda. And they're like, oh, you should be collecting on Marble Soda because, you know, a portion of your stuff has been used in there. And the way that YouTube royalties on something like that are collected is 180 songs, like every dollar is going to be split like 180 ways equally for everyone who's collecting the royalties on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not one other person was collecting royalties on it. So for like a year and a half, on all the millions of plays that thing got, I was the only person collecting money on Marble Soda.
Wow. Uh-oh. Don't let, we're a Silences podcast. We're going to have everybody at it for cash.
That thing paid my fucking rent for like a year and a half.
That makes a lot of sense, because I put Create TV on to you, and I got them to hit you up.
Thank you.
It was a referral thing, but here's the kicker. So every artist I referred, I got 5% of their.
Oh shit!
So I used, because I booked you and Crane and some other guys too, and so my Create TV check used to be like fucking crazy. It's gone down a lot in recent years.
Yeah, mine too.
It used to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I was collecting on Marble Soda. Thanks, Marty.
Yeah, buddy. Fuck yeah.
Thanks for being the only person to collect on that, so that I could get 5% of 180 songs.
That's so random. Like one day I caught a vibe on the Marble Soda thing, and I don't even think it was out yet properly. I think it came out on SoundCloud, and it had yet to like hit. I don't even think there was Spotify at the time, but I like did a remix of it, and I remember sending it to Rin Weaver, and she was like, "This is really dope, but it's very rude to remix and release a remix of someone's song before the song is actually out." And I was like, you know, it'd be really cool if we made it an official remix. And then she stopped replying to me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And I was like, just bomb that. But then it paid my rent for a year and a half after Sean sampled it. So you never know where shit's going to go.
Exactly. And then, you know, people that act like that, and I don't know this person or anything, but people that are dicks, I don't really see them doing too much anymore.
I don't know what happened to her.
I wonder. Probably had one too many comments about things like that. Who knows? It's the internet. It's the age of the internet. Let's chill the fuck out.
I remember at the time someone said she was dating Benny Blanco.
Yeah, yep, that's true. That was true, because I used to see it on his social media.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing about fame, is it's fleeting and it comes and goes quickly. So don't burn your bridges. Treat people well. Be a good person, and don't get too caught up. Yeah,
be a good person.
Brush your teeth, for God's sakes.
Drink some water.
Wake up. Wake up.
Wash
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Now, you seen that guy on TikTok that he does that to people?
Yeah, fucking what. So we have a thing where we check in on,
that's right,
on you know, wins and losses and what we're working on for the next couple weeks.
Let's have FatherDude go first.
Yeah, we'll start with Mitch. So it's like, what you working on? What are some wins? What are some losses? And then what are you working on moving forward?
General wins and losses. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or about the next few weeks, where I see myself winning.
No, like what have you been doing? What have been some wins? What have been some losses? And additionally, where are you going next?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely the win would have been that story before about putting out a couple of covers, and one of them obviously doing something pretty cool. So
it's a great one.
That's a win. I'd say I've had a tough time organizing how to continue to work on, and that's why I brought that up earlier, how to continue to work on many different projects, many different things. I've decided this past year to not, even as last year, I was thinking about changing my name, you know, and you know, for a different project like Ross does, which I think is a really smart thing, which is, you know, everything has its you know, we're selling things, we're selling music. It goes to people that you walk into a store that's for this, you get that. That's makes sense. For me, I guess as an artist, it's just kind of been this thing where like my voice is going to always be my voice. You know, even though I do, you know, I can try to disguise it, but it is what it is. Production's different. It just is. So I really like, I feel fine about putting my name on synthwave things, pop, R&B, rock, whatever the fuck it is. You know, I am FatherDude. It's fine. It's, you know what I mean? Like coming to terms with who you are. And it doesn't work for everybody, but that's where I've come to accept that. There are 2 other projects that I'm not going to be FatherDude in, but that's why those exist. But
that's
I guess
me.
The point is,
I'm the dude.
Yeah, but also the point is, like, you know, the reason I was thinking about that so much was looking at Spotify, which is just one platform, and we talked about Hypebeast, and we talked about SoundCloud and all this stuff that mattered at the time. TikTok matters at the time, and the reality is you can always change that perception. It's just perception. When you look at your Spotify page and you're like, fuck, I don't like that song anymore, or that's not me. Like when I go to check out a new artist, I'm looking at their most popular song, obviously. It's all these things of like, God, how does it work with the numbers? And I'm also featured on, and like all my shit's all over the place. It's not how I want to be represented. It's just like that will be like every other platform that comes and goes. So I'm not going to stress it anymore is kind of what I'm getting at. And it's just like, put the damn stuff out, and the song blows up, like nobody's going back and saying, but this one doesn't make sense with this one.
Yeah,
no one's like,
no one's looking at that.
You were doing a good thing going on until this one, and then now
until this one song.
Fuck you.
Yeah, there's one song no one heard. Get fucking licked.
Yeah.
How dare
exactly.
People don't pay attention to the losses, man. They only notice the wins. Remember that.
Exactly that. Someone said that about Mark Twain, how Mark Twain wrote hundreds of things, but nobody gives a shit about almost all of them.
Pablo Picasso, bro. Did you guys see a Pablo Picasso documentary? That guy was like so fucking prolific with art, yet we only recognize such a small amount of his artwork. Some kid was trying to argue this with me on TikTok the other day, like, you don't see Picassos in bathrooms. I was like, do you realize the amount of output that Pablo Picasso had? Like, read a fucking book and argue that one. Like, wow. Like, that's being an artist. You're prolific. Now it's just, we can access it on the internet at any given time instead of you can go to the fucking record store and you have to buy that specific record, and if it's forgot about, it's forgot about. Now I can just go to Mitch's fucking Spotify and listen through it and be like, fuck him, that one song just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Yeah. And for the future stuff, I did the first vocal pack, the volume 1. I'm probably going to do another one the next month, and
it rips.
I'm doing it. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Oohs and ahs. Wait, I didn't give that to you?
My name's Ahh Ooh. You're not even going to give me the oohs and ahs? What the fuck?
I know. I figured you had them all.
No. Come on.
Yeah, I will get that to both of you guys too. But yeah, so those vocal kits are cool, and I'm just finishing. I got a couple of features coming out. Something with Mike Zombie on his album, and a bunch of Brasstracks people in that world. This guy Rothstein is putting out a project, and hopefully a couple more Brasstracks related things. So, but I have 2 projects that I'm really excited about. I'm just trying to figure out how to put them out, but they will be coming out. And they're fucking awesome. And I feel really good about it because I listened to it like yesterday for the first time in a while. And I had one of those moments where I was like, doesn't matter when it comes out. Shit's going to come out and it's going to do whatever the fuck it's going to do. And that's
shit, man. You're not even going to talk about City Nights. It's like one of the best songs I've ever heard.
I know. Well, that's the whole other thing is there's this whole, like, what I like to do. There's all these elements, there's R&B, blah, 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 but there's this 80s world that, like, a few of us, everything's so 80s, but I do really like that synthwave wave we have tapped into, and that shit with Drive is awesome. And I think that song I think both of those songs are great. Man, I swear to God, this is there was a band called Rat Race Choir in like the tri-state area here in New York in the 70s, and when the 80s hit, they were like a huge club band, and they were like. Back in the day, people were like, these guys would gig 6 days a week, and like there was room to have like bands do cover songs, and also originals, and make a fucking living, like really good money. And then as the 80s came along, clubs started to decline for live music, at least in this like people going out type of a pace. And the music with the singer from it anyway, singers started doing mid 80s pop that was that to me is like I've been listening to this stuff since I was a kid, and it's like listening to a 70s artist try to change with the times and do like 80s stuff, and the stuff that we're doing with Drive reminds me so much of it. And it's just so interesting that like this recycling that we are able to do now with music is so like incredible, especially with the age group that we're in, most of us have lived through the 90s. So I think like a lot of the 90s nostalgia, like we actually could capitalize on because we lived in it. We loved it for, you know, a very like different way, in a very different way. There you go.
Rat race choir, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
What a shot
but it's
this Corvette.
but it's another thing to remember as an artist that, like, you know, the music that you grew up with, if you stay in the game long enough, you know it better than a lot of the kids, and you might be the one to reintroduce that music to the next generation in a way.
All moves in circles. Everything moves in a circle.
Yeah.
True.
I like it, Mitch. I like
Good
it.
shit, man. I'm excited to hear all this.
Well, Randy, tell me. Tell me your biggest failure this last 2 weeks.
Biggest failure. Honestly, I've been kind of crushing it for myself personally.
He hasn't seen the sun in 14 days.
Honestly, yeah. No, my biggest failure has been not taking care of my body like I should.
That's a big one, dude.
My sleep is like, I woke up at, I thought I slept through this. I woke up, I was like, oh fuck. You know, I woke up at like noon or something today, but I don't care as much about that. It's just that I got to make sure I move every day. So I've since kind of course corrected, and now I'm taking a long ass. I'm trying to walk like a few miles every day, at least, and get moving. So that's probably been the biggest L. Everything else has been fucking rad. It's just been, just really prolific time right now. I'm like firing on all cylinders. I'm really inspired by, you know, what's going on, with this project and having a new outlet and having a new space. I built a world for myself in VR. I built my own venue, and I built like a zone, just like a little lair, like a supervillain lair. And I hang out in there. Like I have my characters hanging out in there most of the day while I'm working. And I've been able to make a lot of really awesome opportunities, meeting people and getting connects, and like there's just tons of crazy shit happening. You know how it is. You can't talk about a lot of it until it, you know, comes to be. And I'm also writing a ton of music. So it's like I created all this art, all this music. The music that the strikes that I just put out is doing really well. I'm even like, you know, I'm consistently selling merch a little bit here and there, which from starting a project from scratch to go right into being able to sell merch and to get people to give a fuck about what you have going on is unreal. Like it's unreal.
Yeah. Well, that merch is really, really sick too. Like it's the quality level of that isn't crazy. Like
thank you. Yeah. It's like it's just been so awesome. So I've had my head, like I've been going 16-hour days mode where like I can't peel myself off of what I'm working on.
Well, that's inspiring, kids. You hear that? 16-hour days.
And I found all these like Japanese DJs and producers. I found an underground of music that's been inspiring me like crazy. And I've been learning Japanese in the process while I'm building visual things. I'm learning Japanese so that I can communicate easier in VR, because the VR scene is more advanced in Japan. And then like making connects with Japanese like promoters, and you know just getting this whole new weird wave figured out, because this is Wild West to the millionth power out there, and you can create anything, but there's a really eager audience and a lot of really cool people and a lot of really cool creative opportunities. So that's what I've been doing. And then tacking forward here, I just made all this crazy shit. So now it's making my strategic alliances in this new world and executing some shows. I'll have some shows coming up, and having everything, the experience ready for those shows. These shows are in virtual reality, and which the experience of going to other shows in virtual reality also has been incredible. This whole thing is it's so fun.
When the modern world sucks, escape it into VR, guys.
And when this shit catches up with everybody else, I can't wait to see people's reaction. Music's fun again. Like it makes the presentation of music fun again. It's all the doors are blown off. You can do anything in there, and you can provide the experience that you sort of feel like. It feels like music's not enough. Like you want to provide this bigger, larger than life experience. Well, this is the way to do it, and one of the ways to do it. And
love it.
And I can tour like without leaving my house.
A perk. You can shit in your own toilet.
I can shit and play a show.
It's amazing.
Not saying that I haven't done it. Yeah. And so moving forward, it's just getting these getting the world finished. It's a tremendous amount of work. I've had to like get into Unity. I'm into where I'm like coding in Unity and shit and like getting like custom things set up. And getting the world finished, throwing these shows, and then just crop dusting even more music, of which I have piles and piles and piles saved up. So that's it.
Damn, bro. I love it.
Very cool.
Marty, tell us.
I moved. I'm in a new home.
Oh, well, I noticed that you were in a new closet, which actually doesn't look like a closet now.
Oh, that looks nice up there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of pain. I fell down some stairs. I got bit by a dog.
Wow.
It was a big moving day, but I'm here, and it's kind of coming together, and that feels good.
Where'd it bite you?
On my leg.
It's big dog.
A medium dog, probably 40 pounds.
Okay, it was small. It was a chihuahua.
Actually, wasn't a dog at all.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, and then just doing the January thing, trying every day to make something. So it's kind of
amazing.
Yeah, it's been a whole fucking roller coaster of goddamn, just like every day trying to be like, don't chase it, let it come to you, plug into the creativity, don't think too hard about it.
Fuck yeah.
Just fucking jam, dude. Fuck it. It's January. Just jam.
Yeah, I can see like trends, and I'm trying not to like think too much about it, because it's almost like sports superstition or something. You like make and post something every fucking day. You're going to start to be like, oh, these are getting all kind of similar. And then you go in another direction. You're like, am I just doing this because of the other stuff? And try not to get in your head too much about it.
Don't overthink it, man. It's only art. So
I'm just, doing that and assembling furniture. It's pretty much the whole deal right now.
I like it. Change.
That's all I'm going to be up to for the next 3 weeks. So,
man, there it is. His next several weeks is assembling furniture
and making a thing every day.
It's an important part of it.
Oh, and then finishing 3 more songs for the album. It's all going to be done soon.
Can't wait to hear it, bro.
Yeah, really stoked to hear it.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long time, so get that done so that we can scrutinize it and judge it.
The first single. This isn't actually announced yet, but the first single will be out on a very specific day at the end of February.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. The first single will be out at some time in the future. Yeah.
Probably the 26th, ending for like the end of February, and on a Friday, to get that new Music Friday boost if we can.
Yeah. Well, this pray to the Spotify gods.
Yeah, right. Just
Yeah. What about you, Russ?
Yeah.
Here I am. I did the song that I said that I needed to do that song really quickly last time, and then we did the song and we finished it and we I did the whole video and edited it and put it out. So it's out. So that's great. That's a win.
How's that being received? Because it's such a
drastic turn in what I've been doing. Yeah, it's actually been received great because it's very nostalgic and people love nostalgia, and I was honest with what I wanted to do in myself in doing that. So I feel great about it. The failures this week is that song currently is not on Billboard #1. So there it is. That song does not have 100 million streams yet. It's been out for 5 days, so I'm really upset about that.
Trash.
So, and
going into actual diarrhea.
Going into the future, we got 2 Lucy Daydream releases coming up, and it's been a lot of work. Like a whole year of work. And the first one comes out on the 22nd of January. It's called The Infinite Quest for the Rainbow Butthole. And it will be quickly followed up by, we have convinced our label to allow us to release a song a week.
Wow.
For 10 weeks straight, going into the second release, which is called Enter the Lucyverse.
Nice.
Yeah, and there is some power metal on these records, so I'm excited.
Nice.
There's no fucking rules, guys. I don't know if you heard that there's no rules, but there's no rules. So yeah. So if anybody thinks there's rules, check yourself or get wrecked, boy.
Yeah, you can always be a badder bitch.
I'll be right there, Mom.
Well, that's the perfect way to wrap this up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I hear all of our mothers calling us right now.
Yeah. Hey, it's been yeah. Mom, I'm coming.
Meatloaf.
Dinner. Yeah. Hey, it's been real, guys. FatherDude, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Y'all check out his stuff. He's got some awesome shit coming out, including a song that him and I just finished called City Nights, which is going to be the biggest hit of the next week. So.
Genuinely one of my favorite musicians, like straight up one of the best people too. And just like, I can't say enough nice shit about you, and I can't throw enough positive vibe your way. Like, you're like one of my favorite people, and you're one of my favorite singers. You deserve everything, my friend. Everything.
Dude, thank you so much.
Right.
I feel the same way about you and all you guys. Like, so much love, and this was fun to just do. We don't have to even press record next time.
It's like free therapy.
Yep. Yeah, well, we can just all fuck on our own time.
True. That's the after show.
That's right. That's the after show. Shave that dead animal off your face first, though.
Yeah,
I like it. That's biblical right there.
It is very biblical. I'm just giving
I like
you all
it.
the time.
no, it's okay. His mom doesn't like it.
That's right.
Shave it off when you're done building the ark.
She was like, "Shave that shit off."
Yeah, finish that arc so we can get on it. Shit will go down.
Hey, so I was on Twitter today, and I was just wondering when that ark's going to be ready.
Yeah. Oh, shit. You were on Twitter today? I'm sorry.
I went off Twitter for like 4 hours today, and when I logged back on, I was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
I know.
I got on Twitter for 5 seconds and was like, nope, we're good.
Yeah.
If you can't even use this, because by the time you're airing this, it's going to be like, you guys are talking about the coup day. Like, that's like years ago.
Right.
That comment is going to be, it's just going to be eternally relevant. Every day is going to be like, oh no, you were on Twitter today.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
No, it should, but
Well, that's that.
Love you guys.
That's that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next time for 3 cents plus one whole other cent. Good evening and farewell.